What it's really like living in Cincinnati, Ohio in 2026. The 5 things you must know. Cincinnati is just a sleepy Midwest town with cheap houses and some weird obsession with chili on top of spaghetti. That's the story you've heard, and in 2026, that couldn't be further from the truth. Home prices here are climbing faster than in almost any market in Ohio. People are quietly moving in from places like Chicago and New York and Nashville and both coasts at a pace that we haven't seen in over a decade. And our neighborhoods range in prices from polished million-dollar streets to walkable little pockets where you can still buy a starter home. So, before you pack a moving truck or sign on a contract for a Hyde Park home or a Mason home or a Westchester home, here are the 5 things we wish every single one of our relocating clients knew when they came to Cincinnati. So stick with us, because number 4 is one that surprises almost every single relocation client that we work with. Hi, I'm Peter Chabris. Our team at the Chabris Group has been helping clients move in and out of Cincinnati and buy and sell homes across town for more than 2 decades now. And we close over 600 transactions in just the past 12 months alone. Number 1, the cost of living reality and why the word cheap is the wrong word. I share that only to underscore that we see what relocation clients walk in expecting versus what they walk out understanding. And the number 1 thing they get wrong is that Cincinnati is cheap. I'm just gonna say it, it's not. But Cincinnati is affordable, and those are 2 very, very different words. So according to Salary.com's 2026 cost of living data, Cincinnati's overall cost of living is about 3% below the national average, while housing costs are roughly 11% below the US average. That gap is what makes the math work for most families moving here from higher cost markets. In fact, according to Redfin, the median sale price in the city of Cincinnati hit $276,000 in February of this year, up 10.7% year over year, which is one of the strongest appreciation rates of any major Ohio metro market. Now, if you zoom out to the greater Cincinnati region, that number climbs closer to $310,000. So let's look at some of the premium suburbs like Montgomery, and you're north of $600,000. What does that actually mean for you? A family relocating from Denver or from Austin to the East Coast, they're usually shocked at how much money they can actually buy here. But the truth is, we're no longer that bargain bin value that we were 5 years ago. Inventory is tight, under 3 months of inventory according to the local MLS. And homes are still selling at around 98% of asking price. Some are still selling over asking price. In fact, here's the takeaway. You can absolutely build a strong life here at a middle-class income, but you need a smart strategy, and you should not make the assumption that everything in Cincinnati is a steal. And that brings us to our second thing, because affordability only works if the paycheck is there to back it up. Number 2, the job market most people totally underestimate. So most people moving here assume that, our economy is basically just Procter & Gamble and not much else. But the real picture is way more interesting and promising. According to the Cincinnati Regional Chamber's 2025 State of the Region report, healthcare and social assistance are now the region's largest 2 industries, employing more than 165,000 people. Transportation and warehousing have also added over 26,000 jobs in the past decade. We've got major anchors like Procter & Gamble and Kroger and Fifth Third Bank and Cincinnati Children's Hospital, Tri-Health, and of course the University of Cincinnati, which now has, believe it or not, grown to 58,000 students. So if you add together the logistics boom around the greater Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport and the growing downtown tech and startup scene, and you've got a far more diversified job market and economy than our reputation suggests. Here's the data point that should grab your attention. According to the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services Bureau of Labor Market Information, the Cincinnati Metro is projected to add more than 53,000 new jobs between 2020 and 2030. That's a 6% growth rate that's second only to Columbus in the state of Ohio and its major metropolitan areas. So for our white-collar transferee clients, here's what that translates into. It translates into something practical. So heaven forbid, but should something change with your employer in the next 3 to 5 years, you're not stuck. There is a real, deep, professional job market here. And for first-time buyers, job stability is a major factor in why lenders feel confident about underwriting loans in this region. We've covered what you'll spend and what you'll earn. Now, let's talk about where you actually live. Because in Cincinnati, the neighborhood that you choose changes everything. Number 3, Cincinnati's neighborhoods vary wildly, so pick the right one. If we could give just one piece of advice to everyone that's relocating here, it's do this. Do not pick a neighborhood from some Google search. Cincinnati is a city of micro communities, each has its own personality, its own price point, and its own pace of life. So let's walk through the ones that we get asked about the most often. Hyde Park, of course, is the polished, established, walkable side of Cincinnati with its tree-lined streets, the famous Hyde Park Square. It's got some top-rated schools in it and homes that often run in the $400,000 and well beyond. Families and professionals who want that classic charm with city access, right? They tend to land in Hyde Park. Right next door, Mount Lookout, Oakley, and to a lesser extent, Columbia Tusculum, they all give you a similar lifestyle with slightly different vibes and price points. Now, downtown and over the Rhine district are where young professionals and a larger group of empty nesters are now flocking. Loft apartments, restored historic buildings, breweries, restaurants, cultural scene, real urban energy, right? If you want walkability and nightlife, this is definitely your zone. And then there's the school-oriented suburbs, right? Mason and Westchester, of course, are huge draws for our relocation clients with, school-age kids. Mason, in fact, consistently ranks among the top suburbs in the entire Cincinnati area. And according to Niche's 2026 rankings, it ranks among the best places to live in the entire metro area. Westchester, of course, gives you a similar feel with a bit more variety in housing stock and price points. Montgomery, that's kind of a luxury suburban play, right? It's quiet, it's prestigious, it's got the top schools, and homes that reflect on that level of demand. We believe Blue Ash is the underrated gem for buyers who want suburban convenience without going as far north. It's got a vibrant little downtown, it has easy interstate access, and has a price point that kind of surprises people in a good way. And of course, there's Anderson Township over on the east side, and that's very much a friendly suburban lifestyle with quick access to the city and beautiful natural areas along the river. Some really cool parks. So here's the point. Cincinnati is definitely not one market. It's at least 20. And picking the right one for your commute, your schools, and your weekend lifestyle is the single biggest decision that you're going to need to make if this is a move. So we've told you that Cincinnati isn't the cheap, sleepy, weird, chilly obsessed city that is kind of made out to be, that the job market runs way deeper than people realize, and the neighborhood that you choose will shape your entire experience here. If you're seriously thinking about making a move here, we put together a free Cincinnati relocation guide that breaks down every neighborhood that we just talked about. Top schools, major employers, and local activities all in one place. The link is in the description below, so go grab it. And once you have it, stick with me here because the next two things are the ones that catch even our most prepared clients off guard. Number 4, the culture, the food, and the quality of life surprise. This is the part that we love the most because Cincinnati's culture is kind of its secret weapon. It's the thing that nobody talks about on all those relocation forums. In fact, according to several recent national livability rankings, Cincinnati consistently lands in the top tier of US cities for quality of life, factoring in housing affordability, healthcare, safety, commute times, and cultural amenities. And once you live here, that ranking makes sense, right? The food scene here is serious. Yes, Cincinnati chili is a real thing, and yes, it's kind of weird, and yes, Skyline and Gold Star are definitely part of the cultural fabric here. But beyond that, we've got a James Beard recognized restaurant scene, a craft beer revival rooted in our deep German heritage, Findlay Market, the oldest continually running public market in Ohio, and neighborhood dining destinations from Hyde Park Square to over the Rhine that hold their own against any major city. We've got major league sports with the Bengals and the Reds and the Football Club of Cincinnati, a thriving arts community anchored by the Cincinnati Symphony and Music Hall, a world-class zoo that consistently ranks top tier in the entire nation, and of course the riverfront that's transformed in the last decade into one of the most beautiful public spaces in the Midwest. And here's the emotional pull we hear from clients again and again and again. They ended up at a kids' soccer game on Saturday morning, they go to a Reds game on Saturday afternoon, dinner with their friends down in Oakley that night, and maybe they're doing a hike on Sunday morning at Alt Park. This is a human pace. You get your weekends back. You can raise a family without losing your social life, and you can have a real career without sacrificing free time. That's the trade that most coastal transplants didn't know they were missing until they moved out here. So the lifestyle, the food, and the community, they're real. Now, the last thing nobody warns you about. Number 5, the weather, the traffic, and the day-to-day truth. So I promised you on this channel an honest version of life in Cincinnati, and here it is. The weather has 4 very real seasons. Spring is gorgeous, but it's short and a little rainy. Summer is warm, humid, and full of festivals, baseball games, and weekends on the river. It's great. Fall is genuinely one of the most beautiful seasons that we get along the Ohio River, right? The Ohio River Valley basically turns shades of orange and red that look almost surreal. Now winter, guys, it brings out cold, gray stretches, occasional snow, and yes, the gloomy weeks in January and February are something that you want to plan for because they're real. If sunshine 300 days a year is a deal breaker for you, I would think pretty hard about that. Traffic, on the other hand, it's one of the biggest pleasant surprises for our inbound transferees relocating to Cincinnati. In fact, according to recent commute data from the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey, the average one-way commute in the Cincinnati metro hovers right around 25 minutes. That's meaningfully shorter than peer cities like Atlanta or Nashville or Chicago or Denver. You can live in a suburb like Mason or Westchester and still hit downtown in under 30 minutes most days. Let me do the math for you. That's literally hundreds of hours a year of your life that you are getting back. Okay, a few other day-to-day realities. Number 1, Ohio is a relatively low tax state compared to most coastal markets, but Cincinnati does have its own local municipal earnings tax, so definitely factor that in. We've got videos on that if you're interested. Property taxes can vary significantly, and if there's a school district, well, that's a conversation we have with every buyer we work with, because this can change your monthly payment by hundreds of dollars a month. Utility costs, they're roughly in line with the national average. Childcare runs around $11,000 to $13,000 a year per child under the age of 3 based on state averages from salary.com, in line with a lot of the Midwest, but a real budget line item for young families. Here's the day-to-day truth. The pace is easier, the math works, and the lifestyle is genuinely strong as long as you go in with your eyes open about the climate and the local tax structure. Look, the bottom line is this. Cincinnati is not the bargain bin town it used to be, but the math and the jobs and the lifestyle still make it one of the best value propositions in the country. Home prices in this city are up more than 10% year over year. It's true. Greater Cincinnati's median sales price now sits around $310,000. Premium suburbs like Montgomery, they're going to command much higher prices. But the job market is deeper and more diversified than its reputation here, with healthcare, logistics, finance, and consumer products, as well as tech, all anchoring a metro projected to add over 50,000 jobs by 2030. The neighborhoods are wildly different, so choosing well is everything. Our culture, the food, and the quality of life consistently land Cincinnati in the top tier of U.S. cities. And the day-to-day reality of short commutes, 4 real seasons, a family-friendly pace, it's what makes most of our relocation clients stay here. If you're thinking about making a move to Cincinnati or just exploring whether this is the right chapter for you and your family, we'd love to be your guide. We help hundreds of families relocate here every year, and we know every neighborhood, every school district, and every quirky little nuance that you won't find on a Zillow search or a ChatGPT search. Send us a message, give us a call, or download our free Relocation Cincinnati guide using the link in the description below. Whether you're 6 months out or 6 weeks out, we're happy to be a resource. Zero pressure. And before you click away, watch this next video right here on the channel. It's called 5 Reasons You Might Not Survive Living in Cincinnati. Really, it's the other side of this story, and we promise you, it's one you're definitely going to want to see before you make any final decisions. I'll see you in that video.